Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's session. Today is the third and the final session of this workshop series, Young Collective Voices. And I'm sure all of you have found it really exciting and really enriching, just like we have. And we've been so happy to hear back from you and to hear the kind of feedback you're giving us. Even just reading the Padlets, that reading whatever you have filled on the Padlets has been so interesting and to all of us. So we are looking at today being another exciting session. We've got a few interesting things planned. So yes, let's start. Elsa, would you like to say anything?
Hi, everyone. Good morning and good afternoon to our colleagues in Australia. And since you were in Brisbane, I hope the floods didn't affect you too much. And of course, I think Jackie's in Papua New Guinea, so hopefully she's fine too. Well, when we planned this session, we wanted to put in a lot of creative stuff, but it's only effective if everybody participates. So like Sonali said, we are very glad that you took the chance and that you are being brave enough to contribute and share and be a little vulnerable as well, both teachers and students. So thank you so much. And we have enjoyed doing this session. We also had an additional session for those who are interested in the Insta Reel on 8th. It was yesterday. We had 4 participants attend. They have curated 8 questions on your behalf, which we will put in the chat section. We forwarded it to the consulate. They are waiting to advise who will be the counterpart. And one of y'all will be interviewing her. We've kept 2 names, one who will interview and one on standby just in case there's any technical difficulty or any last minute change. But I am looking forward to that chat and I hope all of you will also join in. So today what we are going to do is we are going to do a little bit of reflection. Then I will do the next session. Then Kavita will give you a briefing. You have a little bit of time to fine tune a creative output with your school teams. And then we'll see what everyone has put together. And then we have another reflection exercise at the end. So over to you, Sonali, for the current reflection.
Thank you so much, Elsa. So yes, to start off with, we'd like to hear from you now. So I'm going to ask everyone to please put on their cameras. It would be really nice to see you and hear from you. We want to know what you are thinking, what you feel, what you think about everything that we've been talking about. We've been talking about gender bias. We've been talking about creating safer spaces, and we'd like you to share with us what any thoughts that you have on it, maybe biases that you have faced, maybe biases that you've broken, or maybe how you feel you can create safer spaces. You can refer back to the case studies that we did and talk about problems that you might have that are similar to them, or things that you've heard about others around you having. So what we're looking at is a lot of interaction from you, and we would like each of you to actually tell us what you think. So yes, who'd like to go first? Before we start picking, maybe you can volunteer and go first. Okay, so Sulakshana, would you like to go first?
Okay, I'm not so spontaneous, so I'm just gonna think and go later.
Okay. Prithvish, what about you? Would you like to share with us your thoughts?
Can I actually think, ma'am?
Okay, you don't have to. It doesn't really have
to be right or wrong answer. So just pick one thing that stood out for you in the last 2 weeks that made you think a little deeper about these topics.
Well,
Anything
the
that really
thing that
made an
stood out to me
impression?
the most was the fact that these sessions really helped me. Um, like I got to know my own perspectives on topics like these, so I could overthink about what how I look at what is my perspective at situations like these, and how am I wrong, or where can I change. So that's how these workshops have really helped me.
Can you give one specific, like when you say these topics, like what? Just one thing,
Yes, ma'am. So the case study that we did on Rima. So during that time, we had discussed three statements, and the activity we did of agree, disagree, and neutral. During that activity, the first statement was Rima is imagining things, she should just focus on her schoolwork. So almost everyone had said disagree, but I had been neutral. I had a different justification for it, but I did agree to the points that everyone else gave. So that's how I recognized how what my perspective is and what usually people think. So yeah.
Thank you. And today, in today's world where we are all on social media and we are expected to always take the majority view and agree, to say that you have a different opinion also indicates you have courage. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Lakshna, would you like to go next now that you have an idea?
Yeah, okay. So the activity that we did last class, which was the tree of life, I think that's what it was called. Um, I got to know what things I actually believe in, and what, basically I got self-awareness more than anything else, that uh, what the things that I believe in, the things that I see that people see me as, all these things I never really sat and I wondered about. Um, so it was a good activity, and I went back and I reflected on it and learned more from that. So yeah, that.
Thanks. And like Supreet says, it's not a one-time activity. It's like 6 months later, you can check and see where you are. And, we've been doing this now for a year, and people have their tree of life and they keep adding to it. So you can do that as well. Mihir?
And I got to also learn that I need to
Yeah,
learn
hello.
so many more things. I mean, my bag of manure had so many more things than I expected it to have.
Yeah. I think sometimes just putting it down or visualizing it, you get a whole new perspective of the problem, but also it gives you ideas on where to, focus your energy or find solutions. Yeah. Mihir?
Yes, hello. Good morning. As of now, after the 2 weeks, the Tree of Life one, like Sulakshana said, it was something that is something that sticks with you. And Supreet said it's in my closet. It up, like if there are any improvements that I feel like there are, any daily. If I feel like this is to be added, I ended up jotting one more point to it right now just a few moments ago. And then these two sessions, like Sadhya and you these two sessions, I don't know, unconsciously about it in some way, and not thinking about it. The previous one, I'm sorry, in that, I
You, I don't know if it's just me, but Mihir, I could not hear you towards the end. So I'm really sorry about that. I think we lost him as well. Yeah.
I think it was his network. Yeah. Maybe
Yeah.
we can come back to him when he reaches.
Yes, Mihir, sorry we couldn't hear you
Yeah.
clearly. But if you can very quickly just share your point, then we can move on.
Yeah, so what I was saying was the sessions were very enriching and they helped me look aside, make way for new and open views that might be there from others, not just my side. And yeah, they were very enriching overall.
Okay, thank you so much. Joel, would you like to go next? Joel, are you there?
There's no right or wrong. It's just what you think, what you learned. That's all.
Okay, what about Snigdha?
Yeah, so during the whole process, a lot of self-realization happened. I learned a lot of new things about myself as well as the people around me. Um, it gave me a lot of insight into how people like think about these topics, and it isn't spoken about in school a lot, so it was nice to talk about it here.
Thanks, Snigdha. Sanket. And if you can be a little more specific as to exactly one thing, just one thing, pick from the whole 2 weeks and how it made you think differently.
Like, good morning, everyone. Mihir and Sulakshana said, for me also the best part of all the session was that life of tree. So like a tree of life, sorry, okay, tree of life. So I also have added many things to my menu, and most important thing, I have left many leaves. Like I was very short tempered. That was my leave which I wanted to leave, so I have controlled my anger to certain level. So that's it. I am making my personality grow up. That's it. Thank you.
Great. And life is a journey. So, you know what, even throughout our lives, we are constantly learning, constantly improving ourselves, trying to be better people. And we didn't have, at least I didn't have the benefit of these kind of courses when I was growing up. So even now, it's constantly making me think about, okay, who am I leaving out of the discussion? Am I using the correct words? Am I upsetting somebody with the way I'm saying it? So yeah, so we can constantly be mindful about it, right? So thank you for that. How about Pamela?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Good morning. The best part was the best part was like on the tree, which I came to know a lot about myself, like how I see me and how people see me. I added a lot of things uh, on the list, uh, and yeah, uh,
Okay, great. Shri? Shri, would you like to share? How about Sadia?
Hi, am I audible?
Yes.
Hi, I'm so sorry I joined late. I am having some issues with my laptop. Okay, so if I had to choose the thing that like the biggest takeaway, I'll say the first thing is attending these sessions. It is the biggest part for me for the whole academic year and coming years. But the thing that really excited me and intrigued me was the fact that even in other countries like Australia, we thought that these countries are very developed, and they are in their sense. But the fact that we could connect with the other countries, that even they have such gender norms and gender stereotypes, was really refreshing and at the same time groundbreaking and like humbling to me, because we are always like we are third world country and we are like always blaming ourselves for the fact that we are gender stereotyped. But like knowing that all over the world at least these issues are very prevalent really made me think about the fact that yeah, it happens in every country basically. So yeah, that was the biggest part takeaway.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I know Nikita has just entered, so I'm going to put you on the spot, Nikita. We are just sharing one thing that we are taking away from the last two sessions. One very specific, there's no right or wrong, something that made you think, something that excited you. And those who weren't able to unmute, at least put in the chat what you have learned, because that gives us an idea as to, whether this the methodology works or not.
Yes, ma'am. Firstly, good
Can you
afternoon.
speak a little louder?
Hello. Is that fine?
Yes.
Yeah. If like I would like to share my personal experience, which made me really think about joining this seminar. Firstly, I kind of had an experience where I was touched in a public space inappropriately, and that really had an impact on me for a very long period of time. And there were friends with me who said that they were willing to support me, um, but as I tried to explain them after a few days, they kind of
Nikita, you've gone on mute. Oh, yes, Nikita, you can take your time. And if it's really difficult, please feel free to put it in chat or come back later and share. And I'm really sorry about your experience. And as you can see, and if you go to our Safe City app, it's a very common issue. So we don't talk about it, but it's happening to us daily. And yet, no one's doing anything about it. So that's why it's important that we talk about it, find ways for survivors to share their stories in a safe manner, find them ways to deal with it, but also at the same time create ecosystems of support. It should not happen in the first place. But unless we call it out, we make it more visible, it's going to continue otherwise. So, but thank you for sharing, and we will give you that time if you want to still continue to share. Shaurya, have you gone? Would you like to share? You're on mute. Okay, we can't hear you. I can see you unmuting, but I can't hear you. Okay, in the meantime, what about Akshata? Is Akshita?
Hello,
Yeah,
good
hi.
morning.
Good morning.
So, in this session, so I think my favorite part was the case studies and listening to people's perspectives on it. So, the questions you people asked were they really made me think, and getting other people's perspective and listening to them was I really liked that part of the whole session.
Any particular reason why you liked it?
Like I said, it made me think, and it also made me listen. Like for a few questions, I thought there was a straightforward answer, but then other people were saying other things. So I was like, oh yeah, we can think of this situation in this way also. Like I did not think of it that way. Certain things like that really also it makes you see. We know all of these things happen in real life, but when you put a name to the person uh, who's facing this, really like it touches you more, I feel. So it makes you think more about their situation and what you could do to help them.
Thank you, Akshita, for sharing. And we've all been in Reema's shoes and Divya's shoes, and we can put another 10 case studies and we will identify with it in some way or the other. Even if it's not the entire incident, the parts of it can be easily relatable. I wanted to ask Shaurya, are you able to unmute yourself? I can see you unmute. Can you try speaking? Okay, I don't think it's working. So would you like to put it in the chat? Because we really want to hear from you. Avril, what about you? Can you unmute or put in the chat? That would be great.
Audible, ma'am?
Yes.
So the thing that really most striking me was the first case study about Rina, if I'm not mistaken. It was Rina's that she, I can relate to her because she is dark skin and she was trying to cover up her dark skin. So am I, and from my childhood, I have heard a lot of things from people. You're dark. Oh my God, your parents are not like this. How you became like this, and and then being a girl, my mother was always very good. Like she was supportive. She wanted to study and all. But just old people, and they were like, "Why are you making her study? She's a girl now. She becomes so big. Even though I'm not even 18 yet, they were like, get her married and all of that." So I could kind of relate to Rina's the case study, which was there, yeah.
Great. So now I want to ask the teachers from these sessions, what did you hear from the students? One thing that stood out, from all these exercises, one thing from the student's point of view, but as a teacher, you're responding to. So may I start with Kavita?
Good morning, participants and organizers. So nice to join back again and also to listen to these observations that students and who are participating here have pitched in. Um, when I was listening to how we approach the case studies and different people's perspectives on that, uh, a point of concern was that even now, in 2022, 95% of people are still hesitant to have conversations about matters of safety, matters of agency, matters of finding one's place in the world. Very difficult to have with parents. And one would have ascribed to a whole lot of difficult family relations to the past, and we would have thought we have moved on in the 21st century into better kind of family relations. But I understand it's not the case. And it also made me realize that a lot of responsibility lies with the next set of adult figures and responsible figures in the student's life, and that is primarily teachers. So, a whole lot of challenges about understanding generational issues, crisis scenarios, rests with teachers who have also been oriented into, I mean, that very simple case study about um, a girl student making her way to college. I, I know we don't think about it so deeply, but I thought it got me thinking a lot. In fact, I did have a chance to present the same case study to my class of second year BA students that Akshita also belongs to. And all of us thought very deeply. We all know someone like this, and it need not be always a female student also. I was having a very serious conversation with some of my colleagues. We are part of statutory committees of different kinds, and we were talking about bullying, toxic language, all very intrinsically embedded in institutional spaces as well. So thank you so much for that case study. And I thought that was a very, very useful way to be self-reflexive on part of teachers, because over a period of time, we assume everything is fine. Everything is functioning well. All our students are getting good grades. But what is the emotional investment in even reaching that stage? What are some of the crisis ridden scenarios? The amount of energy invested by some of our students into even negotiating an everyday trip to college or any other place of work or internships or extracurricular activities, how much of energy is invested in avoiding problems and not being able to speak about it to parental figures, teachers, and sometimes not even to their own friends. To be silenced like that, it just goes to show you how important it is for us to build those empathetic community spaces, which is probably one step that this workshop is trying to achieve. That we learn to be an empathetic community of learners and not insensitive set of learners. So
Thank you, Kapita.
I think that is a very good initiative that you have started.
And this world needs more empathy. We can see there's a war looming, a nuclear war looming on the horizon. We really need empathy. And we can see that also with the response from private citizens from all over the world, as well as Ukraine, as well as the neighboring countries, how empathy plays a big role in responding to crisis. So as leaders, and all of you are going to be leaders at one point in life, empathy is such a critical life skill, I think, in the 21st century. How about you, Moti? As a teacher, what did you hear and what's your reflection?
Yeah, very good morning. And as I always keep telling, as a learner, I always keep myself aside, standing with my students. Now, what I would like to say, as very rightly said by Prithvesh, first point, what especially, connected to me is perspective. Though case studies, while reading both the case studies, we find it out both are very close to us. Whether openly we are going to accept or not, but somewhere I realized I am Rima. Somewhere I realized I am so-and-so girl. So what I'm trying to say, as rightly said by Kavita ma'am also, what we talk and what reality we face, that are, it is a little different. Through this platform, though we were aware, but you have reinforced such kind of human rights to bring equality, to strengthen the foundation of gender equality amongst all of us. That is the again start of a peaceful developed nation. When we talk 21st century, when we talk about progressive nation, when we talk about economic developed nation, and any kind of development happens and it starts from us. So all these activities, all these discussion, all these whether Padlet activity, whether your these case studies has made us to go back, check our own self, and it really connected to us. Second point, as being working amongst students, amongst this educational environment, and here I feel proud to quote, we are the part of nation building program. They look at, we are not just nurturing a child through education. This education, the true application of this education could be seen through bringing peace, equality, that equality again connecting to different aspects, different perspectives like social equality, economic equality, gender equality, again, rights and responsibility. When we talk there also, we talk a lot, but in actual practice, we need to show as a role model. If you want, we are going to grow. Again, it starts from us. It starts from a small step, and all what you people are Red Dot Foundation, you people are doing, that is commendable. The way you have organized the entire session, it was well planned, well structured. Next, the way you accept our, points without saying always the quoting, nothing is right and wrong, says you are accepting means acceptance. We feel inclusive. So this inclusiveness should seen in each and every aspect, whether I am male, whether I am female, whether I am a learner, whether I am a facilitator, whether I am a part of education, whether I am part of outside. It is a collective responsibility. Again, apart from, whether I am in Papua New Guinea, whether I am in Australia, whether I am in India, we as a global citizen, it is our collective responsibility to be the part of that change that again starts from us. So through all these sessions, it has highlighted, it has reinforced, it has made us to realize all we are here for a reason, and that reason is to bring change. And we all know change is the permanent, nothing else. So with this, thank you so much once again for bringing this kind of thought-provoking. And one more thing before I will forget, to develop that creativity and creative skills, though we were not writer, we were not, poet and all this, but the way you people have guided, we have gone with the flow. And while reading that, poem so beautiful, we found out, yes, this is made by us. So that is again kind of, fulfillment and satisfaction, and coming back to rediscover ourselves. So we are looking forward to have such kind of thought-provoking sessions. And before I will close my this, and I will bind up, gender equality is not only a fundamental human right, but a necessary foundation for a peaceful, prosperous, and sustainable world. And all we are equally responsible for that. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share my experience.
Thank you, Moti. And I truly believe that change is the only constant. So we have to adapt. And every day we learn. Like you said, you're a lifelong learner. All of this is part of our learning journey, and being more aware, not only about ourselves, but of the environment around us and how we are responding to that environment. So I can see Melanie is here. She's been having trouble with her internet. Melanie, as a teacher, what have you heard from the students, and what's your reflection from the 2 weeks?
Hello.
Hi.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Hello. Yeah. Good morning to all. Am I audible?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So my personal observation is through these case studies, reflecting on the way students have performed, it just highlights like how they perceive the certain things, and they have the knowledge of what is right and what is wrong. So they have that much understanding as what is happening in the world, and how an individual, irrespective of gender, must or should be treated. And the way they have given their solution, their opinions, it's really nice to hear them, such a broader perspective and something to look upon and to work upon. So it's really nice to see so many of the students from different states coming up and standing up for the same cause, to fight for one's right and to take up a firm decisions. to excel in the field what they really want to perceive. So that's really good to see from all the participants. And as far as this whole session was concerned, it's so much to learn from the session, so much to think and reflect upon, that really changes you as a person and changes the way you look at something. So such a interactive session has helped in many ways. And I'm sure that all of the participants, including the teachers and the students, must have learned something and should apply those teachings in their life as well. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Melanie. Okay, so we've heard a lot. That's a lot to unpack. And we are feeling a lot of emotions. So if you can put on your video, you don't have to speak, but just if you can put on your video, let's just take a few breaths. And I find that this is another technique that you can use when things get overwhelming. So, you can take a deep breath. We breathe every day of our lives. If we don't breathe, we are dead, right? But we take it for granted. And this breath can be a calming force as well. So every time you feel overwhelmed, just take a deep breath. So take a deep breath with me. And then count 1, 2, 3, 4, and then release it through your mouth. And let's take another one. 1, 2, 3, 4, and release the breath. And one last time, another deep breath. And now release on 5 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So every time you feel overwhelmed, just take a step back. Don't respond. Just take that deep breath and then let it all out. And maybe you'll find that you're in a different space to respond, right? Okay, now we're going to do a fun activity, but for that I need videos open. And this is also an experiment. Actually, it's an experiment because it's how you respond to it, okay? So, and all of this is in this book that we will send your way. So next week you should get them. Last time we did your hands, right? The hands. So if you can put on your video and just show me your hands. Yeah. Okay, what did these hands do since morning? Some of you woke up at 5, some woke at 6. I got out of my bed at 9, but before that I was on my phone scrolling. So these hands have been scrolling since morning on the phone. I want to know what, and you don't have to speak, but you can show me what your hands have been doing since morning, and more than one, right? You've seen me pick up my cup and drink my tea. What else has your hand been doing? Your hands have been doing. Okay, let's keep that. Okay, I can see Sulakshna has been writing, Sonali has been typing. Yeah. Kavita is also typing or writing. Jackie's been typing. Everybody's been typing. Anything different? I brushed my hair. Okay, I brushed my hair.
Elsa, I was driving.
Oh, you were driving. Okay, there's a lot of videos open. So I was trying to keep up and see who all were doing what. Anybody else had some interesting things y'all did in the morning before we joined in? I think Australia. Okay. So Verena was on the phone with someone. Sanket, what are you doing with your hands? I can't make out. Okay, you were brushing your hair. Yeah. Kavita was thinking and scratching her head at the same time. Moti also with her pen. Yeah. Okay, great. So now, actions, when we communicate, we've seen through the case study, people like the father threw a bucket of cold water on the girl, right? We use words that could be hurtful, but we also use words that can be calming, right? We hug when we feel like, if I think we were in a class together doing this session, we would have been crying and we would have been hugging each other. We would have been soothing each other, like caressing, like to say, it's okay, it's okay. So we can do a lot with our actions, right? And that's why you have to be more aware of how your actions also can be violent and can be soothing. So like, for example, if I'm brushing my hair, I can be brushing my hair, or it can be gentle. Or it can be a mixed, not so gentle and like I'm in a rush, but this is something that I want to do, right? Or for example, when we pick up the phone also, sometimes we are like, okay, what is it? Or we've spent 5 hours talking to that one friend that we really like, So there's always the extreme of an action, and there's also the gentle side of an action. So do you want to try visualizing some of these gestures? Like, I just did that brushing, but also my tea and coffee, sometimes I just drink it in one gulp. And sometimes, when I have it, slowly sip it and think about things. So anyone wants to try visualizing their gestures? I think Sanket, last time everybody was following your gestures. So maybe you want to start. And you don't have to speak, but you can just show us. Okay. So you did that settling of your hair, I'm assuming. And sometimes you realize when you're nervous, sometimes you make these actions and then you also portray that nervousness to the other person, But you can also do it in a way which is calming and, maybe Jackie, since you're the creative one, would you like to lead us in this exercise? Or show us what your actions are, the gentle and the contrast. I think you're frozen.
The gentle and the contrast.
Okay, yeah.
Am I frozen?
No, not anymore.
I'm frozen? am I still frozen?
No.
Okay. So I can, so you want, okay. So is it a gentle movement and then a rough, a fast movement? Is that what you're thinking about, Elsa?
Or the other way around. I don't know.
Yes.
Maybe start with the fast and then go to the slow. And
okay, all right. Put me on the spot here, Elsa. All right. I have an afro hair, so I'm going to do the combing part of it, right? Now, so maybe it's a gentle combing of the hair. Now my hair is really like curly, so it gets really knotty, and then I go fast with it, right? Yeah. Or then maybe it is coffee time when I'm drinking it, so it is like and putting it down. I don't know. Does that serve any purpose?
Yeah. But we didn't see you. We didn't see the action. And the reason why we are doing this is because observe yourself.
You saw me. Let me see. I have.
Sorry, Jackie. I was just explaining why we are doing this exercise, because we want you to observe how your body reacts to stimuli around you. Sometimes because I pick up nervous energy very quickly, and I then like to, tell everyone, stop being nervous and don't panic. But I pick up on that very easily and it affects me. So, you can start observing how your body and mind are responding to the stimuli around you. Okay, Jackie, do you want to go?
Okay, so I hope that I'm not frozen again here. Is it clear a little bit? Okay.
Yeah, but now you're in the shadow, so we can't see you clearly, but let's see. Okay, yeah,
Let's
better.
do this one. All right, better. So a combing of hair, so a comb, comb, and then the drinking of a coffee. And that's sort of it, yeah? As a movement. Now somebody can think of something better. Verena, you are smiling at me, maybe you can. And I think most of the students have better movements than mine as well.
It's
so,
just,
and Elsa, you put.
Jackie, you're saying you're very calm most of the time, but you know, like I'm wondering, you know, if you're like not so calm and, you know, maybe something has been a bit difficult, you know, how would you then express that?
With my body language. That's well, I would just take a stand with the body language because then I wouldn't move or do anything else. So I pack quite erratically. So I've been packing equipment and gear, and that's really fast. So it's really fast. And then, like you, Elsa, I pick up nervousness as well too as I go along, but not in a particular movement. I'm not sure how I could do that one. I don't know whether that makes any sense or not. And because I'm holding my computer with one hand, I can't really do an action on another side.
That's fine.
This is connectivity.
I think that's great. Yeah. So Lakshana, do you want to try?
I'm not sure what I usually do. I've been thinking what I do when I'm nervous, but I can't really remember anything.
Bite your nails? Some people
I don't. I hate biting nails, so I don't do that.
So I have just one nail. Because I just have one nail. So this is my designated one. So if you meet me and so this currently has, you know, a nice shape. But if you meet me and if it doesn't, then you know that I've gone through a stressful period. Melanie, do you want to share? I know you're in school. People around might think you're crazy, but go ahead. You're on mute. We can't hear you.
Sorry. You know, many a times I've noticed, you know, people who wear spectacles or specs, they have the habit of, you know, touching it many a time, just adjusting. Just calm. Natural reaction of adjusting it, although if it's proper like that.
Okay. Kavita, you also have curly hair.
Kavita twirls her hair.
I twirl my hair a lot. Like I'll do that or in the front, mostly in the front. Yeah. But that when I'm doing that, everybody knows like I'm thinking, like I'm deep in thought about something, which is a lot of the time. Yeah.
Kavita, Peter, you want to share?
I don't think I have any quirks, but you know, I tend to have a very furrowed brow. You can see if I'm thinking, you know, so my brow gets all furrowed, and you know, I'm thinking very deeply at that. Otherwise, I don't have any other mannerisms. I don't chew my nails. I don't twirl my hair.
Great, great. We should ask your students.
Yeah, yes, please do.
Yes, Jackie. I was just gonna say I twirl my pen. When I hold a pen and I twirl it, and I always twirl it really fast. Yeah, yeah. I twirl my pen really, really fast. Or if it's got a clicker, then I start clicking on it frantically, you know, and it really is annoying. But I do it unconsciously.
Yeah. We are not aware half the time how we are portraying ourselves to others because we are so engrossed in ourselves and our body is reacting to what people are saying, what people are doing, and we are also sending out cues into the world. I want to call on maybe Mihir. What do you think? How do you react? Do you want to switch on your video or you're having trouble?
Trouble with my internet, but I agree with Melanie. I press my specs down. Like I just go on my bridge and I just keep pressing them down when I'm, you know, frustrated. And then I will do the thing where you're massaging your head when you have a headache. So yeah,
Like this or
these are
like this?
my actions.
How do you do that? Like this?
I can't see anyone. Everyone's
Or you can't see
blacked out on my
Okay.
phone.
Okay, cracking knuckles, Samriddhi, and I think both Nikita said, okay. That's interesting. Okay, what else? So, you know, one of the things that they tell you before you go on stage and before you speak, or before you have an important meeting, to make you feel powerful, because ultimately we are all humans, right? We are all animals. So is to make your body big. So raise your arms, hold it out for 3 minutes, or do this, stretch, 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 you know, and it just changes everything. So reach up, reach back as far as you can, hug yourself, you know, stretch your hands, but make yourself big. And that changes the way, and it's called power poses, but it just changes the way you see yourself. Suddenly you feel yourself becoming confident. So what I do is I go to the toilet just before I have to give a speech, and then I do that in the toilet and nobody can see me do it. But I'm sure it works if you're going to, you know, go for an exam. I'm sure it works if you're going to meet somebody who you find intimidating and don't know how to have a conversation with that person. You know, any threatening situation, just try those power poses. So if you want to do it and practice it, just do that. So just hold your arms, even if you're off camera, just raise your arms and hold it high up and stretch behind. So you're kind of opening up your body, you know, and then move it up like this. And just again, stretch behind, you know, and say to yourself, I've got this, I've got this, you know, I know what I'm doing. I am powerful. I've got this. I am
I've
who I
got
am.
this.
Yeah.
I've got this.
And if you do it for 3 minutes, just 3 minutes before a stressful situation, you'll realize that it actually changes how you're feeling. And then you can walk in confidently, head up high, your hands not, you know, like nervous, you know, by your side. And you also portray to the other person that you are strong, that you are not vulnerable, that they can't take advantage of you, you know. So try that, and let us know then if it worked or not, right? Any thoughts on this? Has anyone tried the power pose? And we can post a TED talk on the power pose. Has anyone heard of it or tried it before?
I haven't heard of power poses, but in psychology, we had learned about facial feedback analysis. So the way you, if you smile, it goes to your brain and it makes you happy suddenly. So maybe power poses is something very similar to that.
Thanks, Kavita, for posting in the link the TEDx talk, the TED talk by Amy Cudley. But I would, Amy Cuddy, it's very important that we are aware of how our body is reacting, and then use some of these. They're very simple. Yeah, a deep breath just before, if you're feeling overwhelmed, or just before you have to enter the room. Maybe it's somebody you don't like interacting with, or you know this person is really irritating. Just take a deep breath, do a power pose, think about how your hands, your face are you know, giving the other person signals, because for all you know, you're giving out cues that the other person's also picking up on and responding to you. So, you know, we are like mirrors to each other. Yeah. So okay, so now we move on. I hope this was helpful, but I would like, yes, Moti.
Yes, one thing I wanted to share, as you asked, when we have different kind of mood and different kind of, you know, so there is very famous, I think maximum we are aware, Patanjali Baba Ramdev. So we use, and this is very effective for hair growth and, you know, strengthening your hair. both the nails, both four hands, if you will do like this, it is really very, very effective. I have seen in my family. But every day you have to do 10 to 15 minutes. This, it is really effective, ma'am. And I focus on one single point. As we know, there are different paths to reach one place. So I keep focusing in one dot, one point, and then I keep doing like this. And trust me, many problems got solved during that, the exercise. And it is effective for hair growth, I came to know. So I wanted to share in this forum. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, so Mihir also has tried the power pose, and he says that it calms him down and removes the beating chest feeling he gets before hitting the podium. So that's great. So before I hand over to Kavita, I just want to say that I know a lot of you are struggling with your internet and your video, but for the next segment, you have to co-create something, and it can be anything. It can be a story, a poem, it can be a video. We will give you half an hour so you can exchange. It's with your school team, so you know what to do. You probably have their contact details. You can connect over the phone as well. But at the end of half an hour, we will expect something from you. So I'm going to hand it over to Kavita to explain the exercise.
So, hi everyone. What we'll be doing today, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen actually. And what we're going to do is do a little reflective exercise. Let me get my screen on.
Try now.
Yes, I'm all good. All right, can everyone see my screen? All right, awesome. All right, so we're going to do a little exercise, and what the exercise is called is a letter to your future self. So what we're going to do is we're going to break out into rooms with your teachers where you are going to personally reflect and write for 15 minutes. And the theme is of, the couple of workshops that we've had on biases and creating safer spaces, and you're going to get prompts in the next slide. And then you're going to put down what you write, this letter to your future self, into the Padlet. And then we will begin sharing and we'll discuss. Is this clear to everyone? Does anyone have any questions before I move on to the next slide? All right, perfect. Looks like everyone's understood. Yay. Okay, so this is basically, the prompts. You're going to write dear, so you're writing to your future self. So I would be dear Kavita, and there are three things I want you to think about. What did you learn in today's session and the last two sessions? What is maybe the three things that you've learned? What is the one thing you're going to change today that is going to lead to this future, right? What is your bravest intention going forward? So what is a small step you're going to start making today to create this excellent future, and that's why you're writing to your future self. So the idea is you write this little letter and then you park it aside. And then maybe 5 years down the line, you have a look at this letter and see how far you got or whether it was even possible to get. But that's a future thing. We're not going to think about that right now. So we're going to write this little letter. Is it clear to everyone? All right, let me just check. Yes. All right, so we're happy to go into breakout rooms. And remember, these are just prompts. You don't have to stick to it, but necessarily, I think key things to talk about is what did you learn? What is the one thing you want to change now that will lead to this future that you want to create? And what is that future going to be? All right, I will copy paste these prompts into chat so that you have it. And we will be able to, and then what we're going to do is we're going to come back and we're just going to share what people have. We encourage you to actually share what you've written in Padlet so that we can just talk about it. But in groups, you're actually going to write and reflect, and your teacher's also going to be there with you. And so feel free to talk about what, the exercises, what is it you think you've learned, feel comfortable doing that. But later we are going to come back into the main room and speak to each other. Does anyone have any questions? All right, so here are our prompts. So as more and more, letters come up on the Padlet, would anyone like to go forward and talk about the letter that they've written? I don't want to particularly call anybody out, so I encourage you to just, say, hey, I'll do it. So who do we have? So some people have left names. Some of them I cannot guess who they are. So all right, so I have the pleasure of picking the person then. I'm gonna pick the person's name who I see first, and that's Sulakshana. Sorry, Sulakshana, I feel like you kept getting asked, but yeah.
Yeah, I love to participate.
Oh, that's awesome. Yes.
Yeah.
Would you like to read out
Just
your
a
letter
second.
and just, yeah.
I'm so sorry. There's a lot of interruption in the background because all of us are online on our laptops.
All right. No, all good. All good.
Okay, so the last few weeks and I think the last overall the whole month has been very hustly for me. I've been doing a lot of we have had college exams, we've had different fests, different jobs to do, attending this workshop. So I feel like I'm very proud of myself for doing all of them and like giving everything equal priority and equal importance and finishing those tasks with, I think, successful, successfully basically. So I was just reflecting on that as to how I feel about myself right now and what I've, yeah. Was anyone saying something?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, so that's what I've written. That right now I feel very happy as to what I've achieved in the last month. So I just put it all down in words. I think, but all my words won't express what I feel, but something, yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious about the kind of future that you want to create. Would you like to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, so as we're in St. Xavier's College, we've already been exposed to a lot of different things. So we have this cell called social inclusion cell, and they are already, ahead at the forefront of all the social talks, bondings that we have. Um, I I do want to participate more in them because this workshop has given me inspiration to like go and do much more. Um, as for a future self, um, I would say that we've just been talking about the safe space. We've not really been doing something for it. So I would like to be a part of something which is actually, doing something in reality and something concrete for it.
Yeah, that's a great thought. And I think, that energy that you're having to actually do something, I feel comes from having to discuss it and then feeling a little frustrated with just having to keep talking about it rather doing something. And that's usually the next step. But, I think sometimes doing some of these things are a bit difficult. So you need to find the people that you can do it with, because some of these tasks require not just one person, it involves system change. So you need more than one person. So so it's just to get you thinking about that. But yeah, that's excellent. I really like the way you're thinking, and the feedback that you're giving in the form of this letter, which is very, very useful and inspirational, not just for me, but for everyone here. I just wanted to ask if there's anyone in our space who would like to say something about what Sulakshana has written, or something that you identify with, or you feel differently. If that's completely fine. All right, no worries. I'm gonna ask Mihir to talk about. Thanks a lot, Sulakshana. Thanks a lot for sharing. Yeah. I'm gonna now ask Mihir to speak about his letter, if he's able to. Hopefully
Yeah,
your audio.
that's
Oh, awesome,
yeah,
Mihir.
it's
So
on
good to
right
hear a
now.
voice. Yes, so good to
Hello.
hear a voice.
Thank you. So my letter in general is, so whenever I have grown up, seeing the problems, like my two visions that I have is either create something, sustainable for everyone, if nothing else, where everyone is included in that little space, even if it's just that little space that I can create. That is one thing that I've, kept as a first note there, to remind myself that is what you stood for back in the past. I hope you're standing in that same place right now. And then later on, as I carry forward, I have kept a hint of, like, like a memory orb that keeps emitting. If like the remember all from Harry Potter, like that. And going forward, then I've talked about what I have, learned all throughout and these 2 weeks, that the one thing that will be the most difficult to actually would be the fact that I'll have to unlearn quite a few things and remember that I have to be accepting, and I have to, not bias myself and then just go like, oh no, you're not there for my, you're not going to be contributing to any of what I say or stand for. I need to get out of that. And yeah, and that little last line that I've written is, it's resonating because that's something my math sir had said in the 8th grade, and that's always been there. So the the only way you can create a harmony is when all the instruments are played together. Don't forget that. And yeah, that's my letter to
I
myself.
love that line, create a harmony, when all instruments are played together. I think that's awesome. Mihir, I have a few questions for you. Like you were speaking
Yes.
about, creating a safe space. And I was wondering what, in your opinion, contributes to creating a safe space? Is that something you've learned in the last few workshops, that you've been part of, something you've seen somewhere else? What are like a few things that, in your opinion, would create that safe space? Yeah.
It's something that I've learned and observed after even talking with like my friends about the same. It's that to them the safe space is something that I relate as well, where I'm comfortable with myself and everyone around me, and I have like what I need at that point in time. So that is something that is a safe space according to me. So yeah, that is something that I want to have in the future for myself and the others around, and for everyone who can access it.
And how do you create a safe space for other people, in your opinion? If there were like one or two things that you think are like quite important, what would those be?
Conversation first. That's the best way you can at least get to know, if nothing else. And the second thing is, once you end up conversing, accept. You can't just be blindsided always and like stow away to whatever you feel like is right or wrong, because that's where the acceptance part comes in, and the conversation comes before that, which together is a key factor, in my opinion, to create a safe space.
Yeah, I also feel like you're also saying something else, which is very important part, which is a very important step between the conversation and the accepting, which is listening, being able to listen, right?
Yes.
So I felt like you were talking about that, but not explicitly saying that. I was also curious about, what kind of toxic traits were you sort of hoping to unlearn? And of course, if you're uncomfortable sharing anything, you don't have to, but I'm just like curious, like if there's like one thing, like, that you'd want to change now, so that you are working towards the better world. What would that
I would
toxic
like to
trait?
say gender roles so badly, because I'm not even joking. Right now, in my house, my dad does the dishes, my mom does the dishes as well, but my dad usually contributes and he does most of the dishes. And then there I am, like, thinking, okay, whenever I eat my lunch and dad is not at home, I'll be like, okay, no, mom will wash them off, it's her job. That is one thing that I need to, that's just one of the few things that I need to let go of. And then whenever I'm in a competitive scenario, I'm head to head against usually my classmates. They're always female, and I'm like, I know for a fact that she can beat me, but I'm not going to let her beat me because I'm a guy and I shouldn't be, like, beat down. So that's one other toxic trait as well. So yeah.
Wow, thank you so much, Mihir. Thanks for being so reflective and sharing out here. That's really, really helpful. It's good to know, like, what, the things that you're thinking about. So thank you so much for being so open over here. I'm going to ask I don't see names. I see that there's like a drawing over here. Let's see. And this is Prithvish, Snigdha, Shaurya, Aditya. Are any of you able to turn on your audio and talk about this drawing?
Prithvish, would you like to talk?
Sure, ma'am. So when we were in the breakout room, we worked together on this future letter to ourselves. So it's a visual letter. It showcases what we learned. So we learned to move forward as a group, to be together. What we will do is spread awareness in the society around us. And like that's basically the general idea that we are going forward with.
Is there any one thing that you as a group of young people would really like to work on? Like one thing that, you take baby steps and you get to that future that is this image, which is gender equality?
Basically a safe space for probably our colleagues, our partners, our friends, people around us. Like we would like to start there.
And what does this safe space look like for you all, for example? It looks different for different people, so.
Right.
Yeah.
So probably Snigdha, Shaurya, or someone could talk about that.
Yes, Snigdha, would you like to talk?
Personally, I believe that to create a safer space for everyone, I would go ahead with educating younger people, younger than me, especially on topics that people might find controversial or even our parents might not be comfortable speaking about, which are honestly really important. So that's what I think would be a good idea.
Yeah, thanks a lot for that. I do think that educating people is quite important, and especially younger, catching them when they're young is quite important. But also, how you educate someone is always the tough part. So that's a big task, and it's not going to be solved in this session, but that's something for all of us to think about. So thank you so much. I'm going to ask Pamela. Pamela, are you comfortable speaking about your letter?
Yes, sure, ma'am. I have been through a lot of tough situation in the past, and still I'm struggling. Uh, as it knows, childhood days are okay, good, and afterwards in the teen, the middle, we have problems with your father, mother, then. So, and towards I had society also where I've been into a lot that I can't do anything. You're poor. So this was all about. Yeah, done, ma'am.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Pamela, for doing the difficult job of talking here and talking about the things that you went through. I know it's difficult, and you definitely have support in us. There's also support in Safe City, Elsa, Sonali, etc. So yeah, do feel free to reach out if there's anything that you need. Samriddhi, would you like to talk about your letter?
Hi. Yeah, sure. So I think in my letter, I've tried to give a recap of these 3 weeks and try to refresh the memory of 2027 Samriddhi. So some of the things that really struck me throughout these sessions was that I think that I've developed a more empathetic approach to the sufferings of people whom I personally don't know. Plus, there are some other things where I've also developed a broader perspective of what a safe and inclusive space means to me. And what it could mean to other people. So even hearing other participants talk about their version of safe space also makes me realize that it could differ from person to person, individual to individual. So that, and personally for me, I feel that I haven't been my biggest supporter and I haven't really believed in my capacities as much. So in this letter, as a salutation, I've written and regarded myself as my biggest supporter, and I'm kind of trying to manifest that because people around me believe in me, but somehow I do not end up believing in what I can do, and I'm always in that phase of self-doubt. And through when I first attended the session, I felt like I am talking about this, but then what I think, does it really matter? And how do I know I'm right? Or how do I know that I'm not coming across as somebody else who is ignorant of somebody else's suffering? Or, I think I had that imposter syndrome because I hadn't been in their shoes, but I was somehow asked to judge what they could be feeling at that time. So trying to get a deeper understanding of my responses to people, my understanding and my beliefs, and trying to also be as empathetic towards myself, because I too am going through some difficult times, so I should be a bit lenient towards myself and not so harsh. So I think overall I've tried to experience these feelings, and I'm rooting for myself. And one of the last sentences that I've written is, I believe in you, I believe in your capacities. And I know that you can actively try and challenge the injustice that you see around yourself and challenge the gender barriers that you see around yourself. So this was a letter to myself.
Wow, Samriddhi, you said, everyone's saying so many things that I, strongly resonate with, but also some of the things you've said, like imposter syndrome, and, not really feeling that, at least for me, I feel like a lot of times I've needed validation from other people to feel good, that I am good at what I do. But of course, in the last couple of years, that mindset has changed towards, I don't really need that. I am my biggest competition, not someone else. So yeah, I think there's a lot of hard work involved in changing that mindset. It's not that you don't need praise and validation from everyone else, but I think thinking that, I need to champion myself more than looking for it from someone else. So wow, I really resonate with a lot of the things you've said, and the struggle in there to actually to actually change that thinking. I just wanted to ask if anyone else in the room also had something to say. I see that Mihir has said, I feel this. Lakshana is saying, I relate so much. Do you all want to say something about that as well? I think, you know, we're in the company of friends. We're hearing a lot about safe space, and I do feel this is a safe space because of the things that are being shared over here. Do you all feel comfortable sharing anything? I think I'm pretty sure somebody would love to hear from you, and not just me. Yeah. Mihir, Sulakshna, would any of you like to say anything?
Okay, I'll go ahead. So, I've been doing a lot of things, as I've mentioned before, but I still feel like somewhere I'm not achieving as much. So again, there's the question of self-doubt. And of course, I'm sure it's human to compare yourself with others. But you know, it's not always right to do that. But somewhere I still do feel that how much ever I do, am I satisfied with what I'm achieving? That's like the biggest question that I have every time I do something. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say. So I resonate with you, Samriti.
Yeah, and also like, you know, having kindness and compassion for yourself. Like if your friend was feeling that way, what would you tell your friend? But somehow we don't say those things back to ourselves, right? So how do you develop that self-compassion for yourself? And that's, yeah, yeah, I'm all there. Mihir, I just wanted to ask Mihir, would you like to say something? Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you so much, Mihir. Yeah. Um, oh, no worries. No, you don't have to apologize for anything. I just want to check in with Sanket. Yes, future Sanket. Sanket, Sanket, is your audio working? How about Akshita, Aditya? Would any of you like to discuss your letters?
Hello, this is Akshita.
Hey, Akshita. Yes. I'm trying to see where your letter is.
It's on the left. If you could stop
Left.
it. On the left, just under.
Is it the handwritten
Just
one?
above the picture. No, it's just above the handwritten one.
Oh, cool.
I
This
think,
one?
yes. I think I also
Yeah.
want to add to it a little bit by saying that, you know, when given the choice between, sorry, I toppled a bottle. Okay. Just saying that when given the choice between staying silent or, you know, starting having an enriching conversation with someone who could even be a stranger, I want to be the one to, you know, open up the door of having such conversation on gender and stereotypes. And I've never shied away from having such conversations before, and I've always been open to having my opinions questioned and openly questioning that of others as well. But I hope that I'll continue to do this even in the future, and I want to unlearn all that is wrong and learn what the right thing to do is in certain situations, because I know that, you know, gender stereotypes and all of these things are extremely deep rooted in us, and we do a lot of things without realizing that what we're doing is not correct. So I hope that, uh, you know, I can unlearn these things, and I can also help other people in uh, being a better version of themselves. Yes.
Yeah. I think, like, you know, one of the things I think I try to remember sometimes is that the actions I take in a certain situation are sometimes the best I can do. And also, you also always have to think about what is safe for you. You know, sometimes the best action in that situation might be that you shouldn't be doing anything, you know. And I know that the urge is always that you want to do something, you want to, you know, I don't know, whatever, protect someone or save someone or speak up. But sometimes the safest thing might actually be in that situation sometimes speaking up might escalate and make things worse. So again, I think, going back to being kind to yourself for the things you're able to do, and also for the things that you're not able to do. A lot of things sometimes are not just up to one person. It takes a societal shift. It needs a collective shift. So I would encourage you to also think about that. Yeah, this is a very difficult topic. It's not going to be solved in one day, or in one instance, or in 1 minute, right? So yeah, thank you so much for that. I'm going to ask Avril, would you like to share? Also, if anyone wants to chime in, to what you're hearing people saying, I would encourage you to do that. I don't want to be the only one talking. It's really nice to have a conversation going. So.
Yeah. Hi, can I say a few words?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, hi. This is Aditi from St. Xavier's College. During our breakout room, we discussed that some fundamental changes are required at the education level, primary education, and subjects like sex education or understanding safety and security of children, and not just understanding safety and security, but understanding your own body and physical and emotional development of the body. So these subjects, these are very sensitive and very crucial. These subjects should be taught skillfully at the primary education level. Then we think that a major changes can take place. So my students were there in the breakout room, and they say that we are made aware, but at very you can say at the college level or maybe after college level, but these subjects should be taught and should be learned at the school level, because that helps the child to develop the personality in totally different way. Yeah, that's it I want to share.
Oh, that's a great point, Aditi. I don't know. I just want to share, just building on that. There are a bunch of friends that I have who have developed this comic. They're called Menstrupedia. They're pretty popular, and I don't know if you've come across their comic, but I think their comic is really good because even though they're talking about menstruation and they're targeting really young women, what is so great about that comic is also it moonlights as a sex education tool. So it's not just for women, it's also for boys, and it's also trying to take the shame out of menstruation, but it's a great sex education tool in the form of a comic. So I do encourage that if you haven't already seen that, but if you're aware of that, I don't need to explain any further to you. But yeah, that's been a great inspiration to me on this topic about how do you sensitively talk about sex education, in schools, because I remember a time, and I don't know if this is still the case, but they had actually taken out sex education from the curriculum. And I don't know if that is still the case. So, but yeah, it's a great little comic. So yeah, thanks a lot, Aditi, for that.
Yeah.
And if
Kavita,
you know any other resource.
Yeah, Kavita, what is the name of that comic?
It's called Menstrupedia. I'm just going to drop it in chat for you.
Yeah, okay.
Menstrupedia.
And this is available online?
It's available online. It's available in different languages in India. The comic. I also know the people heading it, so they do lectures and things like that. So if you ever need anything like that, I'm happy to set that up. They have their Menstrupedia champions, for example. So yeah, I see that Kavita Peter is raising her hand. So oh, oops, I dropped that into chat. Yeah, Kavita, yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
It's quite illuminating to see these conversations that are emerging through these simulations that this workshop is turning out to be. But I also would like to, caution, especially those who are instructors, course instructors, learning facilitators, teachers, that sometimes, you know, we try to impose a certain framework of experience, and you know, are not sufficiently sensitive to the spectrum of um, pain, trauma, emotional curves that younger people, young adults are going through. So I think these sessions are a very important self check, because I mean, that's what I have mentioned in my letter as well, that there are sometimes unaddressed demons within us, people who have perhaps an advantage of many years over the learners who are before, sitting in our classrooms or in our Zoom sessions, etc. But it also is a caution for us to be looking, I mean, a mirror before ourselves. What is left unaddressed, unresolved, and how there is always a danger to kind of twist that into something which is not a healthy prism to look at others' experiences as well. So I think what I would like to think is that we always have to have this kind of self-checking mechanism, whereby we you know, we do a certain course correction within ourselves first, and say that, okay, I am not going to be judgmental, I'm not going to devalue someone, I will be a very empathetic listener. So these are some of the elements that I would say this exercise has definitely shown me as a participant.
Thanks a lot, Kavita. I think that's a great point about, the space for reflection and self-check-in. And I guess like how do you and I guess this is something for everyone to think about, like how do you regularly do that? How do you make time for that? Like, for example, sometimes coming into a workshop like that, you're forced to make time for that. You're forced to have that conversation. But how do you do that without the structures and the strictures of, without, of a workshop like this, without Elsa being there, without, Verena being there or things like that. Yeah, so I think those are some things to think about. What I'm going to do now is thank you so much, everyone. That actually brings us to the end of this little activity. What I'm going to do is now hand over to Elsa as we wrap up today's session and all the entire workshop. So thank you, everyone, for being such gems and sports and sharing today. You will have access to this panel to come back to and talk about and reflect. Yeah.
Thank you, Kavita. Thank you, everyone, for participating. I was so busy reading all the letters that I completely lost track of time. And I do want to end, with this lovely quote from one of, an exceptional person called Brené Brown. She says, owning our story and loving ourselves through that process is the bravest thing we'll ever do. So I'll just repeat that again. Owning our story and loving ourselves through that process is the bravest thing we'll ever do. And I hope we've been able to give you some tools, some strategies where you can accept yourself for who you are, love yourself. I think that's most important, right? We are always trying to compete, like Kavita said, with ourselves, but in relation to others. So yeah, so think about that. And next steps. So we've come to the end of the course, but like it's, that song, Hotel California, once you check in, you can never check out. That's that's it with us. So once you have been part of our programs, you're going to be invited for all future sessions. So please feel free to come join in. This is our work. We talk about, gender stereotypes, creating safe spaces all the time. So feel free to join in. If you want us to host any workshops further, let us know. We're happy to do that. But for this group, we do want to have an Insta live, and we will let you know who we will be in conversation with. But your colleagues, and I think it's Sadia who will be representing y'all. And am I right, Sonali? It's Sadia, right?
That's correct, Sadia.
Sadia, and can you put the 8 questions in the chat section that they have, sent forward to the consulate? So Grace Ann is here, and she will let us know by end of day. But 11 o'clock on 8th March, do join in on Instagram. Our handle is the Safe City app, and we'll send all of it on email. Don't worry. I'm sure it's going to be a lovely conversation. And yeah. And if you want to take over our Twitter handle or do an Insta live in the future, let us know. We are open to it. You don't have to be perfect. You know already. We are okay with it. Learn, make the mistakes from our handle. We are happy with that. So, but be confident and, go out into the world and thrive. So thank you once again. And if you can switch on your videos, we would really love to have a group picture. I'd also like to thank Jackie, Verena, Kavita for being amazing partners. Of course, Grace and Alia, the Consulate General of Australia and Mumbai, for always supporting this amazing work. And Kavita, Peter, Moti, Jha, Melanie, and Aditi for, co-creating with us. We couldn't have done it without you. So if everyone is ready, I'm going to take a screenshot. Akshita, we can't see you. So great to see you, Joel. One more second, Shaurya, Snigdha, Avril, if you can switch on, that'll be great. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Cool. So we are going to send you the books. We will send you the case studies again. We will send you the recordings are on YouTube. The poem that we co-created. Don't forget, of course, the Padlet link. Lots of things we co-created. And keep adding to it. So it doesn't end here. This is just the beginning and the starting point. And we hope to see you at our future event. And Sadia, can you share a little bit? Are you ready for that Insta Live? Do you need any more help?
Yes, I am ready and I'm quite excited today. And I would love to have some questions from everyone from this session as well. So I can just brainstorm on some questions.
So the 8 questions that you all came up with yesterday, we've sent to the consulate. But yeah, if you have any more questions, list them and try and give it to us in advance so that, our, guest can prepare for the session. Yeah. That's it. Thank you. Have a lovely day and a lovely weekend. Kavita says, okay, I love the question. What is feminist leadership? Yeah. Because